So everybody, it's Amon here. Welcome back to another one of Amons Reviews, aka reviewing a game that by the time I'm recording this, I recently finished, and at the same time, a game that's so much of a spangled banger that I can't wait to go more in detail and talk about more roundaboutly with the case of everything that comes with it and how this game is like in a full show. This game is obviously by Rockstar Bully, underrated game like the Warriors, a game that was inanimate, and again, it's still true to the stereotype being GTA, but in high school, but having a lot more nuance, having a lot more arguable creativity, and rather a fundamental that is bigger and more out there than what you could possibly even think about involving something like GTA. I'm not trying to diss GTA, even though I don't like GTA the most, but at the same time, Bully is a game that most people don't give credit. It is underrated. It is a game, arguably before its time, with all the run of coolness that came with it. And a lot of time, this game is seen as just mediocre. And obviously, it's not the most greatest game in the world, but I'm here to go and talk about my opinion about it, my full review, my full run of thoughts, and everything I have to contribute to the kind of what this game is like in comparison to everything I think about it in the format for what it is and all that. So that in all one form of a breath. Anyway, though, hope you guys will enjoy it as always. Let's go and run into it.
Ooh, I love the way you smile in the morning. Pull me in close, baby, with no warning. Kiss me up and down, yeah, your love is transforming. I adore it, yeah. Ooh, I love the way you smile in the morning. Got me out of bed, but you're loud as snoring. That ain't important, you're the vibe, adore it. Share.
Bully, a game of Super Naaman, like I said before, came out on October 17, 2006. A game that did a bunch of things super great that other games couldn't, which is very subjective, obviously. But what it did for me personally, playing it back in the day and then actually replaying it and getting a full refunkel of what the game is like, that's even the word, was with the game giving me credit of understanding the character from a more high school scenario, kind of understanding it from bigger fundamentals. Obviously, if you look at something or re-look at something from a different angle, you actually get it more normally. But at the same time, the feel of playing the game at a different form is a whole different thing to be said, because with this game, I played it, had a banger playthrough of it by the time I'm recording this, like I said, which obviously doesn't matter super, because y'all gonna see when y'all gonna see it, whatever the case may be. You know, kind of inconsistent, at least on the case when I'm gonna be playing other stuff. But at the same time, the running time of this game and how it's like, I do feel like it was a little bit forced here and there. But I loved it because, I mean, again, getting a better relook of it, seeing the characters in different ways, seeing the colors, seeing the padding, I like how the colors to put together everybody, like all the nerds. The Pacific color, green, jocks, blue, the preps, blue and white, very flocky, yellow and stuff. Then the case for the greasers are very baggy, thuggish, cool. And then the rock of the girls, I like how Jimmy has actual stylish drip. You know what I'm saying? He got the drip looks, my guy. You could go on a whole montage of all his drips, my guy. Like, his rack of colors, everything that comes with him is cool as hell. And I also just like how he be doing shit. Obviously, this game came out originally for Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, all that. And obviously, it's a remaster like his version. If you guys are also worrying about the Bully Anniversary Edition and also Scholarship Edition, at least for the first one, was in March 4th, 2008. And if we're talking about the Warriors in comparison to it, came out exactly on the same tempo on the date, in October 17th, 2005. And so the other one of the game is coming for remaster with this, because obviously you have General Bully that came out October 17, 2006, and the year I was born, but not the same day, because I was born July 6, 2006, in case somebody cares. But the games that came out behind that and run came out 3 years later after the Warriors in full, with the games in prior case of 2006 to 2007 to 2008 in full. So to go and make that clear entirely, this game spanned for a good year, made multiple different kid book sales, and at the same time, with this being said, did things that nobody else really thought of because it was underrated, and it was like GTA, and people still can arguably say that, but people kind of just address it as that and don't really look at the bigger things to it. Now obviously Bully isn't the most profound inanimate game, but it's still a game that deserves its praises and its love because everything that's made for the community with Rockstar. It's a cool game. It's lovely. And at the same time, it goes more into that cartoony but teen-rated goodness of what Rockstar can bring. Obviously, Rockstar is always known for bringing out M-related stuff, doing stuff that compacts with social commentary, and there are rock things that come involving their games and everything else with that. But in this case, how they made this game was something very cool, like I said before. And again, it coming out October 17, 2006, the good 2000s, was a good timer case, especially everything else that came involving that run at a kind of time. Which also seemed like there's another thing that was running with the flow of the games that I was talking about, but I was just saying, oh, again, like the rock of how they went with Anniversary and Scholarship was the prior case time evolving after that point and how it was like. So there's nothing that really made it a big placement or really inanimate thing that came to point with how it was like. It really just depends on how you feel about it in a bigger state. But overarchingly, it really just depends. And exactly where Scholarship Edition came to play was exactly October 21st, 2008. So not actually entirely 3 years, but still a cusp of 3 years to that point, 3.5 almost, for this time, for what it was after this time of the year. But no matter the case of over the time, Scholarship Edition, no matter if it being a good remaster or not, did bring in new eye views, and it was the catalyst for people, because obviously that's the one I played. I got the original remaster prior point for a version within PS4, because obviously this game came out additionally on 360 and at the same time PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. So instead of being on the old school case for PlayStation being on PS Now, it ran on PS4 and was able to work. So it's pretty cool to see, additional games working in any case, of matter for how they were like, and the form for how they were running with stuff. But mainly in this case, this game made its own book sell to do things that didn't actually roll in normal game sense because people had a new game that they liked. Now, is this full factual and full line? Not necessarily, but it rolls with some good case of money, and it did something, again, to reiterate, most other case of games didn't. Now, when it comes up to the box office about how they made money, internationally wise, they made $500,000. Domestic box office, obviously lower in tax technically. $881,824. Worldwide, they made over $1,381,824. So full copies, and again, when I say book sale, I obviously don't mean a book, even though Bully as a book would be pretty interesting, especially for somebody like me who reads. But in the run of how it was like, they made multiple different cases of big book sales of being the factor of expression, big money sales, because obviously with that, they were spent, you know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, Bully made something that most people didn't expect to, with how it was like. This means it grew a lot of different cases of people within the factor of its fan base, people loving it, its feel. It was inanimate, it was unique, it was intricate, and it was more creative universally to most people who actually played it and took it as its own thing than GTA. It's similar, but you can reign the same thing with how GTA is similar to Call of Duty or this and this or other games before it, before even GTA was even manuscripted. There's some people back in the day, correct me if I'm wrong, that said exactly GTA was a ripoff of Twisted Metal. If you know what that is, most people, like the OGs who play Twisted Metal, or as anybody who has an understanding about how Twisted Metal is like, would agree that GTA could be considered back in the day, at least it's in nuance, was a fucking ripoff of Twisted Metal. Am I saying that? No, because I don't really have the privilege to say that. I don't care, because again, GTA has never been my mainline game. I just don't care about it. I quit the series that I was doing on it because it was just getting boring to me. And I ain't gonna lie, GTA was just kind of this mindless fun, which I like that, but it just wasn't my presence of a game, and it wasn't really the run of a game I wanted to go ahead and play, and I just wasn't really feeling it in the grand off, It wasn't really the game I was really trying to rock with in full cuffs, That's really it for the most part overall for why I felt that way overly, because none of it made a difference. None of it was going to make a difference generally, and I didn't really care for the most part how that was going to work out for me, because it just wasn't my thing overall to deal with or be a part of, because again, I just want to go and chill, do my thing, and be a part of something that was more nuanced. So besides my feel of thinking about GTA, Bully within the agreements and quote someone like Swepta had more uniqueness, and this grew other kids of people. And so as a review game overall, because obviously that's what I'm going to be doing for my review, it has a lot of things that are better than GTA when it comes down to music, when it came down, not story, because we could agree GTA's story is patented better than Bully's, but I feel like Bully has a lot more entertaining feel, because I'm not saying GTA's story is full fucking boring. It's just the same shit. It gets repetitive to me. You could say the same thing with Bully, because that is a problem, arguably, from a critical stance. Because unless you're trying to play for full plot extensive, it does kind of get a little bit repetitive like Warriors kind of does. I'll get to Warriors when I do. But point is, when it comes down to case for how Bully is like with story and its run of music, it is more better because the music is unique. GTA just plays our stereotypical country, rap, singer music. While obviously, as you can hear from my speaker and the editing, this music is a lot more cool and grandeur when it comes down to a particular coolness, because the soundtrack of Bully is actually pretty nice. Bully also has more cooler extensives within things, because the time period of Bully is not known. My personal opinion and theory is how things are run. I'll probably say like mid-90s, maybe you could say early 2000s for everything that's put into here, because this is technology and the feel stuff that would be realistically around that case of time. You could equate that with everything, but within this state of time, I feel like that's an easy thing to be said, especially how it's redone and put together and everything that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? The looks, how people do things, how people talk, stuff along those lines. It really doesn't matter, because you can put it into anything you want. I definitely think people could agree it's only going to be from like 90s era. It's definitely going to be in 20th century, correlating into the 21st, obviously. So with that being said, I definitely think that's where people could stand. Obviously not actual big 21st, but I don't see it anywhere going lower or anywhere going higher. And I don't think it would go like low, like early mixed 20th century, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's how I would see it. But the thing is, why that's so creative is because you can play it anywhere, no matter where it is, because the game takes place obviously in Bulworth Town, so it has Bulworth Academy in New England. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it actually took place in England because it's a British school by the feel of how it looked, but it was looking high privilege because of the case of it being in New England. But I even thought that because account for having some of the preps be looking like British boxes, you know what I'm saying? So it has a cool fundamental as a game with creative instinct, because it has the instance of putting together something so solid that nobody could really line up as a game and foundation, and then making it something that people can enjoy. And then when it comes down to Jimmy and his fits and everything that comes with him, he's cool. And to talk about Jimmy in Pacific with other stuff, if I'm going to say Pacific, is that him as a character is pretty cool. Now, to rate him as a protagonist that makes him cool is, one, he don't give a fuck. He takes everything to full heart and he penetrates with it with his fist. He don't care. He has Black Air Force energy. He's cool. I kind of have some social life lessons from Jimmy. Obviously, do not do what Jimmy does. Jimmy, from all account purposes, realistically, is a hood rat sometimes. But even for his reckless habits, you can see, just a general teenage boy. He can be a good boy. He has goodness in him. He's not just a fucking bully. He's not a fucking twat. He's not a fucking prick. You know what I'm saying? Even though my character might be laced up like he Jake Paul, he has goodness to him. I'm not saying Jake Paul is actually a full bad person, but he's not running around just wreck housing on motherfuckers. He has some account of goodness in him to do good and not be bad. It just really depends on how he'll go about doing it, because everything that he does really depends on his layup of actually trying to do this, trying to do that. So I don't really know. It really depends on how you feel about the character and all that. But the reason why he works for me, because critically, he's cool. You can see humanity in him, because obviously it's not like he's bad. Because objectively, what he does is just scandalous. But he's a teenage kid that comes from a bad parents in this bad place. As he comes in here, you can see he don't necessarily want no problems, but he'll rock for anybody. He don't take no shit from nobody. He willing to buck if he has to. He got some skill. He can fight. He doesn't give up. He got heart. He got will, and he got determination. And he'll sock any motherfucker if he has to. So with him learning all this different stuff on his road, you can see real progression, real heart align with him. And even if he does some dumb shit, or does some petty shit or legit penalizes his character into the dirt, he always finds a way, kind of rise up that sting of likeness to you, I feel like. At least that's for me, because again, that's subjective. I'm trying to take it in both forms for how somebody could look at him from different accounts of being. But I also feel like if he does something that's actually objectively bad, like him posting nudes of a girl to a pervert and then that shit getting laced up on the town walls and over here at school, he actually takes his karma of actually bending someone's entire livestock of their life to a bad haul. Obviously, it's not to that big extent, but this is a girl in high school, and that shit just got posted out. It's like someone in school getting their nudes posted out. Nobody wants that, especially a female. I get it wouldn't make no difference, but it's a fucking high school cheerleader, and her nudes should not be being posted out randomly for no reason. So I feel like within his redeeming qualities of trying to take that stuff upside, spray paint it, is a good deed. And him outside doing some stuff for people that were like enemies to him, having humility, having compassion, having sympathy, having empathy, is a good thing because it shows humanity. It shows humanizing the main character, even he might be objectively not the best person. Even though in this sense, instead of like the Warriors where niggas are objectively just terrible people, because them niggas are bad, those are hood rats. Jimmy is just like level 1. Them niggas kill motherfuckers. Jimmy will just rock your face in the ground, leave you with a broken nose. He won't pull an Ajax or he'll smother your face into the ground, shove a bat up your ass and make you like a popsicle. He's not gonna do that, alright? He's not gonna pull some actual fuck nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, at least Jimmy has a role of coolness to him that's compassionate. I'm not saying it because there's bad people that you play as means they're bad. I'm just saying, like, when you look at Jimmy, you can see some accumulation of relatedness. And you can do the same thing with the Warriors' main characters. And I'm going to explain why I keep comparing Bully and the Warriors together, because they're very similar in a lot of different ways, depending on the kind of how you feel about them. But how his character is like overall, I think is a very cool run of a character depth and a case for why he does things. Because again, Jimmy can pull some very bad, arguable stuff, but he always has a clinch to do good and is not just despicable. You know what I'm saying? So every time he would do something incredibly bad, there is a pores of goodness that comes with his heart, and you can like that stuff about him, because it isn't just he does something bad in whatever category, let's go ahead and take off everything that he stands for and just keep showing that. No, there is goodness pitched. They're showing that he might do something bad, deserves karma or a punishment, but he's not just full wrong, And this is shown with him helping out other characters. It's shown with his teenage likeness at the same time, because one of the life lessons I got is that just have confidence, because with Pinky, ironically with this date music, is the best representation of how I feel. Pinky was on a date with Darby, her own cousin. I could explain why she's been doing that. She dating her cousin. She's going to try to continue the family legacy. Sweet home Alabama. It's whatever, but on the road, though, for real, she wasn't going to do that. But even though he was not her date, Jimmy was still trying to go ahead and see her. He ran up to her, was nice, gave her some flowers. Beautiful girls like flowers. They like the beauty of beauty, you know what I'm saying? And they beautiful, so go ahead and show them something beautiful that reflects them, you know what I'm saying? And so my man walked up. He didn't have no need, but he was like, well, let's go ahead and leave Darby to another cousin. Why don't you and me go out? He didn't even care if she was going to say yes or no. His confidence is that high that he just walked up to her. If my nigga walked over here and was like, maybe one day we can go out and go on a date, she probably would have said fucking no, because she not going to go for somebody that just got her way to go and pawn her way into the tickets. Because literally how they met was he distracted people for her so she can go ahead and roll in to the movie theater having to pay because the movie was about to start and this line was bonkers, But at the same time, his confidence was that high, he pictured the perfect situation, because night, the carnival is lighting up like we at Coney Island. Okay, excuse me, and you're gonna get some water. Okay, hold up, give me a second. Any small case interruption. Anyway, with my point being made still in full. Alright, anyway, back we're running. I was saying in this case, over in Coney Island, we're at the perfect time date, and his pitch of confidence and love for her, with in this case, brought out that date mood to her. She didn't care about nothing else. She was just willing to do it. Now, does that make her shallow? Not necessarily, especially since Darby stood her up and they're cousins. So let's go ahead and just dismount them from ever being a couple. All right, I think that was probably a favor for her. She doesn't want to do it anyway, so roll with somebody she's happy with. You know what I'm saying? So her going with Jimmy would probably be the best bet within this case, because you shouldn't be doing that shit in general. You know what I'm saying? And so, for him boxing, him fighting the preps and doing this other stuff, there's likeness from her, and he has likeness to her. And so, him doing this stuff for other females, not just to get them, but just showing initiative and showing confidence that nobody else could ever have, is something that takes a lot of guts, because most people couldn't do that. Most people couldn't go ahead and be like him, walk around with that much high confidence, walk up to a girl and be like, yo, Darby ain't here, how about you and me go out? Most people couldn't say that because that's bugging, right? But he's like, I don't care. He ain't here, I am. You want to try to go on a date? I got money. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as simple as that. He had no competition that he made clear. He was just like, I'm here. He doesn't care. That confidence is something I can respect. You can say that's shallow, that's douchey, but the fact that he even did it and he got the date is the reason why. If he didn't do it, then there would be a down smear on his entire character. But no, he got her. That's the point I'm trying to make. It doesn't matter if it was arguably unneeded, whatever the case. He got there and he got the girl. That's the point. He got something that no one else could have possibly done, because he pulled something that nobody else would have the guts to. And I'm not talking about like the girl pulling, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, he did. He did that. He did exactly what I'm talking about. There ain't no downsifcation. He ran with the girl and he did that. And to go ahead and rewind from what I was trying to say, okay, fucking tongue twist almost there. With rerun the factor for what I was trying to say in full with this, is that him going with this girl and having a fun time was a picture point for how he likes girls and he can get them. As obviously he be swinging with the girls, he kissing over here on someone like, yeah, what's her name? We got nerd, cool, shawty. Thickums, nerd girl, alright? She got some cakes, whatever. He rolled with these other kids of girls, and he's cool with them, and he don't downgrade a single bit, getting them, even if he do some real fucking shallow shit and be kissing on another female, even though he's helping out the guy to catch her cheating, and he's over here racking up on her. That's just a bad thing. But even account for that, he takes initiative to push past that, do something better, especially since she already cheating on him, so she already bugging and doing outside pocket shit, and really Johnny don't need her. And also I want to talk about something that's on the screen as well. I like some of the game design, but these fucking tattoos, they're irrelevant. They don't need to exist here. I don't know why they would put this in here. Here's one of my main it's a small thing. If you like these tattoos, okay, but they don't have art. They don't have nothing cool about them. I feel like it's just a lazy thing. I get they're trying to represent that Jimmy lives life in a different way than teenagers. Some teenagers gonna get tattoos, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna get tatted up, banged up, you know? But it's like, bro, these tattoos are booty. They don't have that anatomy about them. Why would you even run them in here? Again, to re-rant, it's cool if you want to do that, but it don't hold no weight. If you're gonna consume something, I want it to be avidable. I want it to be eatable. This is not a comput or something good. I'm not gonna take it just because it's something new. And the words of compliment, I'm not gonna just accept something that's new, even though I want to eat something new and it's shit. Doesn't mean I'm gonna eat it just because it's different. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's like that deep. I'm just saying no run a case of cool tattoos. Now these are cool to me. Barbed wire to stitch up, it don't make no sense to me. It's just weird. It looks weird. I guess possibly just because of the graphics, it just looks bad to me. It's whatever though. Going to a pro though, I like the fighting in this game. I like the choreography of it. Generally, like the layout of this whole boxing stuff. I like it because obviously, as you guys probably already got by now, for the case of me playing bully, I like boxing. I box myself. A power champion representing with junior heavyweight belt medal one time, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, being a power person that loves the sport and loves for my top fighter, not number one black hero, Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. Debate me on it. I will bite you for it, bro. I will fight you. Roll that clap you if I got to. Biff make your ass, bro. I'm playing. But on the road, you want to go on script, we run. I'm playing around. Technically. But on the road, that actually full set. I really like the fighting. I like the choreography. I like the base of it. I like the kind of the preps representing boxing. I like the greases being compound with street fighting, brawling, the straight up fucking hood rat fighting. I like that with the townies are street fighting. With the nerds, they don't do nothing but slap, so it's whatever. The jocks got pro wrestling and street fighting and all that a little bit. And then involving the case for other people, I fight here and there involving their characters and stuff. Besides the preppies having one of the mainline fighting styles of being martial arts. Some people involving, like Jimmy and other case people, have some other mixed capabilities of fighting styles that are inanimate with their own right of like trickery and movement, like with the case involving the boxes of the preps being out boxes and having slugfest moves, with somebody doing the peekaboo thing, moving around. Mainly this is Darby. Then you have an overhead crackbot 3 make a piece, like how I'm getting 3 made by Justin over here. Justin was giving me his all that round, goddamn. And then having outboxing movements like Floyd Mayweather, someone like Biff having a stance and movement like it's Muhammad Ali with the flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And then Darby moving like Mike Tyson is just a cool movement. I like how it's like. I like the British format of them fighting a little bit, which is just more like in a state of look with them, but I like it all around. And then originally some of the cases of fighting styles, and also let's talk about Jimmy for a second. When it came to fighting style, he know a bunch. He know boxing, kickboxing, so that's Muay Thai, wrestling. He know MMA, which is a general relapse of it, and then coming to street fighting, and then accounted with that as well, which I'm pretty sure is everything learned about. Pretty sure. Yeah, just kickboxing, MMA coming with that, boxing, wrestling, street fighting. Yeah, he has 5 martial arts moves / technically 5 skills that he has there. Like this is Def Jam fight for New York, and he's using to the greatest bit. And this is why he's the best fighter. He can rack you up with efficiency and blows. He can pound you out with his kicks, knees, and other stuff. He's a street fighter, bops you with his head. The street fighter shit. He can wrestle. He can move around. He knows how to divert his situations and move around. And most importantly, just because he has all these skills, he can fold you in multiple ways. I like his movements. I like the 2-piece side kick 3 launch. He packing the biscuits. He can roundhouse kick somebody with a 3-piece too. He got a multi-piece. He hits with a left uppercut. Like he just got everything that's backed around with boxing and movement. And most importantly, when it's more than boxing skill, accompanying how he fights other people in the ring and stuff, is pretty solid too, because how he's moving, as you see, is very outboxery, very sluggery, you know what I'm saying? And he's able to counteract these other case of people that come over here and fight him and runs up combos and all that. I really like that. As I say, he gets taught by this homeless guy who's from the military, as I was ex-military in this case, and teaches him a bunch of these slothful moves and solidifies him as the most proudest fighter in the world. He's fighting like he's Boy out this mug, and he don't give up. We don't give a shit, and he rocked with efficiency. You know, Black Air Force energy. My man is over here like a Jake Tyler, my guy, a blonde Jake Tyler at this mug, which I'm not going to talk too much about as a hand for my next video. It's going to be a little special treatment for 2 of these proud warriors in their own right of MMA shit. Jake Tyler versus Bully. Let's see who wins in this case. So I Never Back Down versus Bully, in account with the 2 main characters. Who wins in a fight? Jimmy or Jake Tyler? We'll get into that when that episode comes, side video. But hope you guys will be excited for that. But everything else involving the characters and all that, I don't want to keep smacking my lips, but everything else involving the characters and while they're fighting and other stuff is pretty cool, choreographed. I like it. I like a lot of run-ups within the fighting. And obviously with this game having a fighting game like sense like the Warriors, which you talk more in depthly for why they're so similar as well. Again, Warriors is like GTA but buggerous fighting game. Multiple fighting styles in the Warriors, I'll get to that, but a lot of their capabilities in fighting are similar. They have similar capabilities, and someone like Johnny Vincent and Beta fighting style is going to have Taekwondo, Jin Sake, taking like moves where this nigga was doing karate shit on you. Like he's going to run up on you, do a split kick, tornado kick to make space if he's getting jumped, and then do other shit, and then longitude your fucking face into the ground with a top kick, spit on you. Because Johnny in this game, bro, is ass. Why is he a fucking fight, bro? He should not be the leader of the Greasers, bro. I'm telling you, Norton done more than him. This is why Lola is getting her cheeks blacked by him, bro. I guarantee he is fucking her every time Johnny leaves to go into another part of the town, bro. I'm telling you, she's getting blacked. God knows how many times. She's getting fucked, bro. Like, no cap. I'm telling you, he did more of a fight than Johnny. I don't want to disrespect Johnny entirely, and I got a fight playing with Johnny. If I could possibly pull a crossover with somebody / collab, where this motherfucker fights someone from Cobra Kai / Karate Kid. Y'all know who it is. I'm saying that right. Says Robbie. But anyway, with that being said, overall though, besides all of that, when the kids of those fights come, I like the feel of the fights. Like I said before, I like how they run together like the Warriors and play like a never back down feel. You see them swings by the great Biff Tyler. He couldn't beat Jimmy though. Now no Junior Bullworth lightweight heavy champion. You know what I'm saying? He out flexing like he a whole ginger Muhammad Ali, but he getting patted up like he Boss Kasi. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop though. But like that, I like the run of it. All these kids are examples. Show the love I have with the fight scenes. You decapitate a nigga with a clean uppercut. Everything that runs together. I like the drip, like the fashion, like the feel, like the flex, like the men for the most part. I was going to talk about the pros of some counts of some things being repetitive. Mainly when you're just bearing out on fights and not doing anything cohesive. Because this game, you could arguably say by the end was rushed, but I feel like a lot of love went into the dedication of all 4 chapters before 5, even though 5 had a good run of stability at the like bare end. Like I'm legit talking about breaking in part 1. That bitch was legit just going to Russell's house. You can't extend that anywhere else unless you did something like me, who went to the boxing gym and wrestled with everybody. Just fucking ragdolled them, and pun intended. Unless you did that, that doesn't even count. I'm talking about the mission itself from a critical standpoint. You legit go to Russell's house from Bullworth, go all the way to where the townies are main based, and then from there is nothing. It's just busting in part 1, nothing else. Not busting in part 2, where you go to school and you bust in, do something, because this nigga Russell survives an explosion, which is weird as hell from a power scaling standpoint, because then this nigga Jimmy is able to bust his face up, knock his ass out, twist him, able to actually do raffle damage to him. And he said that was fun, like it fucking tickled. So that's high power scaling, which I'll go more into that on account where I need to actually run a power scaling with my man Jimmy. But besides that, either way, Jimmy Hopkins does a bunch of different other powerful stuff. Does a bunch of cartoony stuff, which I get this game is like filled into like a comic book sense. But this man Jimmy be doing some crazy shit. But he best through multiple different cases of the leaders. He best the lightweight champion of the preps. He best their leader Darby, who's weaker as hell in comparison to Biff. Biff is pretty much his muscle. He's the leader. He's a tactical. He's not rusty at boxing, but Darby is nothing in comparison to Biff, because Biff, by all showcasings of modding them to fight each other, Biff beats his fucking ass a lot of different times. His movement can beat Biff, so I would say by that equalization and the fact that you could say both of them get beat up pretty easy by Jimmy if you know how to fight as Jimmy and know how to fight both of these two. You know how to outmove him. You know how to be able to move. But they can both put Jimmy on his ass. So I wouldn't necessarily say there's a downfall in both of them. But how could I put this? One is more easier to beat by Jimmy and one isn't. Because Biff is able to outmaneuver Jimmy. He's able to snuck him, get him with a hit, and then power combo him. Because some people forget in between the 2 pieces you can at least block. Because by the 3rd one, he just hammer strikes your ass and you on the ground. And then the other one is able to defend with his peekaboo, but your different movements will just be able to fuck him up, and then he can get you on your ass with a haymaker, then grip your ass and stun lock you, and pull motherfucking Mike Tyson boom 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 on your ass. So with that being said, unless you get hit by both of them, you could arguably say they're good, but that depends. That's on the skill. But like, if we're going by like actual thing, they're able to both put you on your ass and make you start bleeding. But like Darby did like a lot more easier. Hit that nigga with an uppercut and he made him start leaking from the mouth. That's the thing. He gave him a clean haymaker uppercut, bro. He threw him on the ground. Y'all gonna see in a minute what I mean. But on the real, he defeats them. He defeats Johnny, who is nothing. Like I said, he's ass. His whole fucking 3-piece where he go ahead and lines his foot on you, that's not even a top feet hook like it was in the case for his original beta field, which again, I get they didn't want him to add like that because it doesn't make sense for a greaser, even though the greasers could be high-end martial artists with taekwondo skills and all that, which is pretty much what his entire baseness of feeling was like, because this man was over here running in like a Cobra Kai character, like I said, like him fighting Rob, you know what I'm saying, not trying to slurp on Johnny over here like Lona be doing it. I'm playing, Lona. I say that because of the jokes, because Lola be like that. Again, nigga pops me, just bongs me around the floor. I mean, you start leaking. But Bologna Cowla over here be over here doing that like a porn star and shit. Joking around besides a case of horrors acts, obviously, in a joking sense. Account for how he does stuff with it is legit just fragging his leg. But besides him being able to grip me, to one take me, he doesn't really do anything besides that is really eligible to really be called the actual fight that really musters a challenge. Like, it can be a challenge for people who don't know how to fight as Jimmy and people who just don't have an understanding, but he overarchingly is a punk. Like, you beat his ass in the boss fight arena and then run it against him in the girls' dorm and he gets powered up on him too. There's nothing that runs a really inactive or down form same that for a challenge. With Jimmy, there's an arguable question that the fighting is arguably get too easy at some point because he has too many overpowered moves. Like, his skill set is ridiculous. Like, he'll outbox you. He got a side kick. He got a roundhouse kick. He can grab almost any character in the game that's even to his height and just downfall them. And in the game, he beats niggas that are extensively beyond his age. Like, he beat a 20-year-old, guys. That person that's the pyromaniac, that motherfucker is 20 by looking up his age online. You guys can look it up if you want. Like, that motherfucker's 20. I get it's a video game. Your character has to be ready, and they roll these moves, because with these moves, you have better versatility. You can outbox Biff and Darby. These moves, you can beat other people that could possibly get in your way, and all around, it's fun to be able to be a profound, Christian warrior in this sense. Not in the same kind of line in the Warriors, but you can overstep anybody. You can pressure them with boxing. You can relapse, connect with multiple different moves. But at the same time, there's an arguable critique that the fighting gets a little bit too easy. But that's very subjective because, there's still characters that can overweigh you. Like, if you get jumped, it don't matter how many skills you got. You get jumped by some bullies in Pacific, the jocks, you get rolled over. Them motherfuckers will tackle you like they Black Panther. Like, you just get pint-sized to the ground, and there's nothing you could do, really, from that point on. But at the same time, how they act and how they do stuff is pretty cool when it comes down to count for how the boss is like. The whole football field with everything is cool. Not as field, but feel. Which I don't know if I even said it exactly right, because I've been talking super fast. It's kind of been weird when I'm going this. Because again, there's been lots I'm going to say, but I'm just saying in full case. With the entire form of the fighting styles, mixed in the case of how these preps and other people fight is cool in diversity. With the nerds who fight them in the assault foundry in the form of fighting them at a full base, you fight them, overraid their entire clique, you overraid them at their full factory assault base, and then mix in with the football team, the jocks. You able to fight them on the football field and overdraft them entirely and be that one cool kid who bucks on the entire football team and they can't do shit about it. So with that being said, that's a lot of things to really think about involving the case of how diverse and intricate these cases of different boss fights are. Because again, it's not anything super special, but again, you fighting the nerds using your kindness and using other case stuff like you're over here fighting a Dark Souls boss, it's cool because you're over here trying to fight the nerds at a high thing. You assault their entire base, fight earnest, and push them for the case of gadgets in your mind and wits, only for the count of the first assault, pushing with your fist, all around together technically. And then the drafted fighting the football team on the field, and the feel of everything that involves that is pretty cool. Because you over here fighting them, beating up the jocks, and then throwing bomb fucking football field balls over at them. Football field balls at them. Which is what I was trying to say in full, because that sounded a little bit weird there. I don't want to have to keep interrupting the correlation with it. There's going to be a lot of edits on all of them, edit this out. Still, points will be made and account for everything involving the storyline and everything that comes with the game, besides the boss fights and how diverse they are. From the first one involving a still-time bully, then fight, and someone like Russell never back down style-wise in the case involving a Cobra Kai Karate Kid showed in action field, and they're all fighting the fucking Juggernaut. This my niggas over here able to penetrate the main character, and bruise him through a wall and create a crater like he's Doomfist. It's just weird as hell. It don't make sense at all. But at the same time, if he's that much of a boss, then I like that. But again, your character best is him, best is other people, best is Edgar and the fucking chemical plant. I'm not trying to curse him, I'm saying in the case for me thinking about the entire line of it and reading the script. But if you're being your characters in different cases, you're also taking what was made in the boss fight into the actual realism. Because again, me beating someone like Russell in a boss fight, but still having that same capability and credibility of fighting and racking up the efficiency on him. Obviously, I'm just boloing on this man. I can't grab him, but when I start lining up these hits, he can't do nothing. I overstep this man that's twice my size, that should be on a football field being like, we hit the field like who? And Reinhardt and all motherfuckers, man. But again, you fighting the entire football field, mixing in case of bomb footballs, makes sense. But you fighting this man, and you's over here able to swap him, but still having a challenge. It's good though, because you're taking what you learned and you're able to put it out there, because you're able to fuck up Biff outside of the ring. You know what I'm saying? You see how it be like in a street fight. Boom, pow, pow. Just lock them up with efficiency, you know? But it really depends on the case, involving how you fight and do other stuff. But besides all that, back to what I was originally forming together with this. You defeat Edgar in a chemical plant. And the original thing was if you lose, you actually die and you get boiled in acid. Which would obviously be ridiculous because you're seeing Jimmy drown / get burned to death and die, which is ridiculous. And I don't think that's a good move because it's kind of disturbing. But at the same time, I understand that if you went for a darker tone with Edgar and the Townies being a more ruthless gang than they technically already are from a team perspective. Okay, I get that, but it's just unneeded, and it wouldn't even make sense in the case for how he's talking, how he's acting like the shit, especially in the form for the original interaction that corresponded for how they're going to do shit, especially since he was just another trouble kid working under Gary, and the pure fact that Gary is a fucking op. And I think for Gary to go and talk about my pros of him as a antagonist, was in the form for him being someone that was mainly just an interlock code sense for someone like Jimmy to get another understanding for his actions. Because I made this very clear in another snippet of something. Because again, he's an antagonist, but I'm saying for a protagonist antagonist, because of him being one of the main top characters, if that makes sense, to run to the form of what I was saying, was that in this case, everything that Jimmy did involving the story was with him doing this to go and try to go and make some friends, do some other different shit. But he's running around boxing with a bunch of people, running against someone like Ted, Darby, Russell, racking up all these different fucking blows, running all this different other stuff, and doing all this different swath of pettiness, and then rocking with somebody like Lola for the most dumbest reason. My man just had the lust stack to 100 and was sipping for her for the most dumbest reasons, and doing all this stuff that really didn't have no hype for him, and he was doing it all in credibility for other people. He had his own solid account for reasons for why he did what he did, but all of it was only in role for him because he was doing it out of the spite of other people. He legit did the most perverted, rapist shit for a whole other person that had no reason to do it out of his perverted mind. He got new pictures of the great high school cheerleader of the school, the captain of the field, got his ass beat in front of the entire school, obviously because he deserved it. But Jimmy didn't do it all just for himself. He did it because the nerds were in trouble. Now that's good, and that's a good thing. But at the same time, you think about the account for his actions, that he did a lot of this other stuff out of the spite for somebody else, and also a reaccount of him doing stuff that's to plunge more into just reckoning. Again, he got new pictures of the head captain of the cheerleader team for the most dumbest stuff. Shit that could land you outside of school in juvie. Just weird shit. For what? What are you going to gain from getting them new pictures? Nothing. Nothing. Just lustful envy of doing something that doesn't make anything better for yourself. I get the other kind of actions he has reasons to, because obviously you don't want to be bullied no more. But back to back, he's been fighting these other people, and it hasn't made anything arguably better or worse. And even when he's at the high peak of being king, you really have to understand, and I like how they recapitulate on that with him going away, and things not going away he planned for just after one little sprite of being king of the school, in his own words. Because him over here talking about, if anybody wants to fight, I'm ready. He doesn't think about the consequences that have been raised up from fighting, because he doesn't think about all his counter actions. I get, arguably, that doesn't necessarily matter because of him still winning technically fighting, but I do think there's some character lineup roles through his ideals and through all this other account of him doing things that, you know, arguably one fuck sided, because of him thinking that just fighting is the main clean to his winnings. It's not necessarily cap, but it's more like, damn, do these people really respect Jimmy? Do they really love him? Do they really care about him? Or do they just fear him? Because obviously, no, they don't. But if they speak out of line, Jimmy's going to come over here and wreck shop on their punk asses. They can't do nothing to him. Like, they're legit inferior. They do anything to Jimmy. Jimmy has the skill, he has the connections to just beat their asses. And, you know, arguably that might be good. You know, you got to go ahead and win for the count of feared, and, you know, it is what it is. But it's like, you have to think about everything Jimmy has done. Is he really getting order? Is he really re-semblance of peace? Or is it more just a wrecking ball of him just being mad and getting a little foreshowing of goodness because he just fights back to back, you know? And at the same time, him winning and getting a little bit of peaceness after beating Gary, which again also has counter theories of the factor that they both died, but you could equate that because of everything Jimmy can survive, jumping off from high points, being able to fuck up Russell, who's able to survive a full-on explosion, a full cockpit of gunpowder, basically, through his face, and then at the same time has the durability to break open a full steel gate with just his head, acting like a rhino. Also takes it to a little snippet that because Gary is able to do something, believe by power scaling, is just the fact that, you know, it's a fucking video game and it's a game rated T, and these are kids. You could arguably be killing here in all steps of the equation. He could survive a fall like that, breaking through glass and for arguable metal, because depending on your version, I got wood, but he can break through metal, and account for the power scaling, he should be able to. He's able just to fucking bore bullets in his way through metal and overscape every capability of challenge that'll come his way of surviving that. He should be having fatal wounds and be bleeding out, just full crossroads dead, but that's not the case, like, at all. He survives no problemo. I get why, but it's like at the same time, you look at that from like a very realistic point, that does not make sense. And it really doesn't have to, because again, it's a video game. They can get away with it. The same thing when Miles Upshur fell off from a tall balcony and didn't die or have any broken bones. Like I said before, I overall don't want to retake in every case. I'm just saying, with me being Poland still with y'all, him dying would change the whole status quo. And I feel like giving him an arguable, theoretical good ending, and if you say he dies and goes to heaven, whatever, doesn't matter. But even after the game, because even though I did not play, because I'm not trying to go and roll past 1,000-year-long caves of credits, and at the same time, it wouldn't take no difference, because I've seen other people play it, in the form of endless summer mode, wouldn't make any difference because you can play endlessly. That can equate with every case stuff, because why not other stuff happen involving you in free roam cases with other games? It's just the way the game is built. If you really take it that seriously, please do the same for every game you play. But it's a video game, a game targeted generally in the state for kids, and not just supposed to be a game that's a roadmap for realisticy. Because nothing in this game makes sense from a big critical stance. In some other cases of realism and this accuracy to how things would be, and the pure fact that someone like Russ was able to survive an explosion, so why can't Jimmy survive this? And he gets fucking hammer-headed through him, especially with somebody like the Bull mascot, who just through the magical, maniacal quick cases of power is able to bull rush and bulletin board something and create a Doomfist crater. Like, again, I get it's for a game mechanic, but this nigga Jimmy is able to take getting cratered by someone like Russell, who can bull shop him through the wall, and then the next person, just with the magical or figurative factor of powers, is able to rush through and just click and bounce on the wall and bust his head almost open because of magical bull powers. What? Like, you see what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't really have to. So I think getting a little bit psych detective on that is cool and all, but it's like, does it really matter? Is my question to you. Like, is it really going to change anything? I think it's cool to look into. It's like in the same case, if Jimmy really be drowning of the acid, even though it's pretty much clear cut that he would burn or drown, even account for whatever case it may be, it's still bad from just letting a nigga drown and all that. I'm just saying, still, point still being clear is that you doing that shit and then having to deal with everything else is still a bad sense, because the factor purely that you're over here having a character almost die and shit and do whatever it may be for the cause and effect of just dealing with the factor that he could die realistically because of that. I don't really think that matters overall, but I can see why people could want to go and have their own cares for whatever case may be and all that. Again, it doesn't really matter to me, but I can understand it. You feel? I just feel like it's arguably a full waste of time because it's not going to run no difference. Besides all that, I feel like the story in full height already account for Chapter 1, Chapter 5, Rise and Fall of Jimmy Hopkins, is a pretty solid 7 out of 10. There's cool snippets or some thriller that I don't really like. I like a lot of tie bits. I like the redeeming arcs. I like showing Jimmy's recklessness, brutaliousness, beastness, learning different things, cooling cases, getting redeeming qualities for his character, the run of stuff, Gary being the antagonist, pulling the puzzles behind the pieces of everything that's going on, and everything that comes into play with the strings that make Jimmy do what he does. And again, with him taking other people's sides and doing this, he does things and push for himself, but it's always running stacked behind other people's decisions. Like, he didn't have to help Johnny, he just did because some nigga said that he needed his help. Why? You don't know him. Why even do it? Then other common stuff compounded when they all give him a lecture thing about going ahead and signing off his name or signing on City Hall. Then he all goes and do it. Because in this case, he does it out of obligation because he feels like he needs to be obligated to by his lackeys. Like, it might be good to get his name out, but this shit can get him in jail, get him in juvie, get him expelled. They're not thinking about that. They just push his decisions. He lets everyone run his decisions to the horrible things. And when someone like Gary says that, and again, to reiterate, not to go too much on a tangent, like I've been talking about the entire time of this game, but it's been a lot of pros and not full rod in the case matter for cons, and account for everything happening. His character, he's all in it, because he's always doing something that correlates from other people's decisions. Again, he does something that could almost get him expelled with him having nudes of a fucking minor, and that shit gets posted out, ragged on, and fucking adults are looking at that. Police! A female in high school! Nudes are out! Please, take that shit off. Get every nigga who's staring at that arrested. They peep at lollies. Those are EDPs. Please get him out of here. EDP didn't get taken off TikTok. Why the fuck is that nigga still on there? That's a different story for another time. Whatever the hell. Like, it's just weird. And other run decisions. Beating other people up. Doing dumb shit. Just doing shit that's just the most ignorant push of arrogance to be, I'm the top dog. Nobody can do anything to me. Fuck with me, I'll fuck you up. He's a 15-year-old doing crazy shit. Again, there's still good redeeming character arcs, but, like, that shit couldn't have got him killed right on camera. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird stuff. But when someone like Gary says that, Jimmy still keeps his confidence, and he has great self-esteem. Like, I've had to picture a character in fiction that has the best role of self-esteem next to, like, some actual big, puffy, cool, great case of characters. I would have to give this to Jimmy Hopkins. Like, my man has the best slouch of fucking grade A self-esteem like no other. Nobody else could have pitched that entire field of self-esteem the way he does. Also, let's talk about why is PD randomly in his junkyard with Jimmy while he's over here running away from Johnny. Does anyone want to talk about that? Alright. Anyway, when he said all that shit, it's like, whatever, fight me. He just fucks the nigga up. He does not care. It's just whatever, let's finish this. He doesn't care. He's enough with all that talking. Jimmy is about actions first, asks questions later. Like, he does not care. Run fist, boy. Like, get off that bike. Come down here, I'm gonna fuck you up. You guys are gonna see a great example. When Johnny's no longer on his fucking pedestal, he comes down, Jimmy's ready, they fight, he comes over here, sucker punch, and he's still ready to fight. Even when he gets knocked down, one shot, half health, he still pushes to go and fight. And someone like this can't take him down. Look at this. Ultimate combos. Combo breaker. Combo breaker. Devastation. I don't discriminate. I eliminate. Punish. This fall on anybody. Nobody can take him on. He a bulletin board of fighting spirit. This man Johnny sucks dick though. Like, he can't fight, bro. God, goodness, man, goodness. Man, Jimmy gonna lay off. He don't run no combinations. He's just getting sacked, whacked, done, ran through in multiple combos. But besides all that, that's how I feel about it. Jimmy is a dope character. I love him. If I had to go and give Jimmy as the protagonist a solid kind of a rating, I give him a 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty solid. There's a little bit of bugs with his character, just like they account for why he does things. But I gave he's a teenager going through some crazy stuff. The reason why some other stuff is not the best push for character development all around won't come for him, but I feel like what he does and the state of his character is solid. And I love what they do with him for the most part. Bully is a solid game. I had to give Bully overall a full rating out of 10. A solid 8 out of 10. Banger game. Play it, dumbass.